There is a divine order that governs all life, and when we align with this order, our path becomes straight, our burdens are lifted, and our hearts are filled with peace. Life is not a struggle when we know the laws of spirit. Life is a game, and it is a game of the mind. The one who learns to command thought, to discipline imagination, and to hold fast to faith, is the one who holds the key to every treasure of heaven and earth. The 8H of wisdom are here to rewire your consciousness, to strip away old beliefs of lack, fear, and defeat, and replace them with truth, power, and certainty. For as you think within, so it appears without. Let these 8H sink deep into your soul, for they are seeds of transformation. 1. Hearing. You must train your ear to hear only good. Close your ear to gossip, to doubt, to fear. What you hear, you give life to. What you receive into your spirit multiplies in your world. Say within yourself, I hear only words of power, love, prosperity, and faith. Every sound around me harmonizes with divine order. 2. Heart. Your heart is the magnet of your life. Out of it flow the issues of abundance, health, and joy. Keep your heart pure from resentment, bitterness, or jealousy. For every grudge blocks a blessing, and every release opens the floodgates of miracles. Say, my heart beats with love, forgiveness, and harmony. I am a vessel of joy, and I attract joy. 3. Hope. Hope is the bridge to faith. When the world seems dark, hope is the candle that never burns out. Never surrender hope, for it keeps the soul alive until faith takes full possession. Hope whispers, something good is on the way. Declare, I live in radiant expectation. My hope is unshakable, and my good comes rushing to meet me. 4. Health. Health is the natural state of the body, for divine life flows in every cell. Fear and worry poison the blood, but peace and joy renew strength. Refuse to see yourself as weak, sick, or failing. Affirm, the life of spirit flows through me. Every atom of my being is radiant with vitality, harmony, and perfect health. 5. Harmony. Harmony is heaven. Discord is hell. Whenever there is strife, it means thought is out of alignment. Do not fight with others. Instead, command harmony in your atmosphere. Speak it over your home, your work, your relationships. Say, nothing can disturb the peace of my soul. I live in harmony with all life, and all life lives in harmony with me. 6. Happiness. Happiness is not found in possessions, but in consciousness. The grateful soul is the happy soul. The complaining soul is always poor. Choose happiness now before conditions change. Say, I choose joy in this moment. Happiness flows to me, happiness flows through me, and happiness follows me wherever I go. 7. Honor. Honor is the law of integrity. You cannot attract riches if you cheat, deceive, or betray. What you sow returns multiplied. Keep your word pure, your dealings upright, and your soul unspotted by compromise. Declare, I live by truth. I walk in integrity. Every door I open is blessed, for I walk in honor. 8. Heaven. Heaven is not a far-away place, it is a state of mind. When the soul is lifted above fear, lack, and limitation, it dwells in heaven on earth. Heaven is here, heaven is now, heaven is the consciousness of abundance, love, peace, and fulfillment. Say, heaven is within me. I live in the kingdom of abundance now. All that belongs to heaven belongs to me. Let these 8H become the pillars of your thought, the pattern of your mind, the law of your life. For when the mind is rewired with truth, the outer world must bow to the inner command. Speak these words daily. Live them boldly, and watch how life reshapes itself in your favor. For the universe always obeys the voice of the soul that knows its power. Hearing shapes reality in ways most people never recognize. For the ear is the doorway of suggestion, and suggestion is the seed of creation. What you hear enters the mind, takes root in the subconscious, and eventually becomes the harvest of your life. When you hear fear, you plant fear. When you hear doubt, you plant doubt. When you hear failure, you plant failure. And when you allow yourself to hear faith, power, joy, and prosperity, those two are planted within you, silently growing until they appear as your outer circumstances. The invisible ear becomes the architect of the visible world, and so to change your world, you must guard carefully what you hear. Words are not idle sounds, they are living forces. Every word has a vibration, and every vibration calls to itself its own kind. To hear a word of lack is to allow lack to knock at the door. To hear a word of sickness is to allow sickness to be entertained. But to hear a word of abundance is to invite abundance. and to hear a word of health is to open the way for vitality to flow. The discipline of hearing is not passive. It is the conscious choice of which voices you permit to speak into your life, and which voices you shut out completely. When someone comes to you with discouragement, you may listen politely, but you must not receive their vibration. You may answer silently within yourself. This is not my truth. This is not the law of my being. When you hear reports of crisis, recession, or lack, you may choose instead to affirm, divine supply knows no recession. My prosperity flows uninterrupted. What you hear with your outer ear must be filtered by the inner ear of spirit, for it is that inner hearing that decides what shall be accepted as truth. There are many voices in the world, but only one voice of truth, and it always speaks in harmony, abundance, peace, and joy. Every other voice is but an echo of illusion. Think of a child who grows up hearing words of encouragement, faith, and love. That child will likely walk in confidence, believing that life will provide, because the seeds of hearing shaped their subconscious long before they could reason. In contrast, a child who hears constant criticism, fear, and limitation may find themselves battling inner resistance, because the subconscious accepted the repeated words as law. This is why it is vital, no matter what was spoken over you in the past, to begin today to rewire your hearing. You must retrain the ear to hear only what uplifts, only what empowers, only what aligns with the divine blueprint of your life. When you walk in the marketplace of the world, you are surrounded by voices, news, gossip, chatter, negativity, predictions of failure. You cannot control the voices of others, but you can control what you allow to register within. Just as you would not eat food poisoned with bitterness, you must not allow your ear to feed upon words poisoned with fear. The subconscious mind does not know the difference between jest and truth, between sarcasm and sincerity. It accepts repetition as reality. Therefore, every careless word spoken around you is a seed being offered. You may either take it into the soil of your mind, or reject it completely. Begin to declare silently as you go through your day. I hear only the voice of truth. I hear only the words of abundance. I hear only the sounds of harmony. When someone tries to convince you of your limitations, answer silently. Every word that contradicts my good falls to the ground powerless. In this way you train your inner ear to tune into the right frequency, much like a radio dial that is turned away from static and onto clear music. The world will continue to broadcast chaos, but you will continue to hear order. The world may shout fear, but you will continue to hear faith. Consider also the words you speak to yourself, for self-talk is the most constant sound you ever hear. If your inner dialogue is full of criticism, condemnation, or fear, then you are feeding your subconscious a steady diet of poison. But if your inner dialogue is filled with assurance, encouragement, and truth, then you are feeding your subconscious the nourishment of life. Each thought is a whisper to the soul, and the soul hears everything. Whisper daily, I am strong. I am guided. I am prosperous. I am loved. Soon your subconscious accepts these whispers as law, and the outer world must rearrange itself to match. Sound is vibration, and vibration builds form. This is why sacred texts across time emphasize the power of the spoken word. Let there be light. And there was light. A spoken command reshaped the formless into form. In the same way, what you hear spoken shapes your world. If you surround yourself with voices of faith, teachers of truth, music of harmony, conversations of love, your entire atmosphere vibrates with power, and you are lifted into a higher current of life. If you surround yourself with voices of complaint, criticism, despair, and fear, you sink into the current of limitation. You cannot remain neutral, for the ear is always hearing, and hearing is always creating. It is wise, therefore, to curate your environment. Choose carefully the conversations you dwell in, the books you read aloud, the music you play, the media you consume. Each sound is a seed, and each seed has a harvest. If you want to reap abundance, do not listen to the language of scarcity. If you want to reap health, do not dwell on the language of disease. If you want to reap peace, do not entertain the language of war and discord. Guard your ear as carefully as you would guard a treasure chest, for in truth, your hearing is the treasure chest of your soul. When a new idea of limitation tries to enter, stop it at the gate by declaring, That is not my truth. My truth is divine supply, perfect health, radiant joy. Over time, the old seeds of fear are uprooted, and the new seeds of faith blossom. You will notice that your reactions change. Instead of being shaken by bad news, you will be steady in truth. Instead of absorbing the fears of others, you will radiate calm. Instead of repeating negative words, you will repeat words of blessing. This is how hearing rewires you. It takes hold of the subconscious and trains it to echo only the voice of spirit. And as your hearing shifts, so does your reality. For the world you experience is nothing more than the picturing of your inner agreements. If you have agreed with words of limitation, you will live a limited life. If you agree with words of possibility, you will live a possible life. If you agree with words of infinite supply, you will live an abundant life. Your ear is the gatekeeper of these agreements, and the gatekeeper must be awake, alert, and wise. The heart is the magnet of life, the great center of attraction that draws to itself all that resonates with its hidden vibration. What you hold in your heart inevitably finds its way into your experience. For the heart is the throne of emotion, and emotion is the power that shapes reality. You may think with the mind, but you create with the heart. The heart does not merely beat to keep the body alive. It beats to broadcast your inner world into the outer world, pulling to you conditions, people, opportunities, and experiences that mirror its song. If the heart is heavy with resentment, it draws experiences that confirm bitterness. If the heart is light with joy, it draws experiences that multiply joy. If the heart is poisoned with jealousy, it invites conditions that reinforce lack. If the heart is filled with love and forgiveness, it magnetizes abundance, harmony, and peace. To guard the heart is to guard the magnet of life, and to cleanse the heart is to reset the course of destiny. When you release resentment, the heart expands and grows magnetic to good. Resentment is a weight that blocks blessings, like a stone tied to a kite string. You may pray, you may affirm, you may strive, but if your heart clings to bitterness, the blessing cannot rise to meet you. Every grudge is a wall, every unforgiven memory a locked door. Yet the moment forgiveness is chosen, the magnet shifts. The locked doors open, the walls dissolve, and life flows again in its natural current. Forgiveness is not approval of wrongs, it is release from bondage. When you forgive, you set yourself free, and the heart once again beats in harmony with abundance. Consider the power of gratitude, for gratitude is the language of the heart. The grateful heart shines like the sun, and just as the sun pulls planets into orbit, the grateful heart pulls blessings into its field. Gratitude does not wait for conditions to improve. It shines in advance, knowing that what it praises must increase. When you wake with a thankful heart, you set your magnet to abundance for the entire day. When you fall asleep with thanksgiving, you program your subconscious to draw more good in the night. To practice gratitude is to polish the magnet of the heart until it gleams with irresistible attraction. Love is the highest vibration of the heart, and love is the mightiest magnet. Love draws opportunities, opens doors, and heals wounds. When you love yourself, you attract those who also honor and value you. When you love others without condition, you radiate a signal that cannot be ignored. Love dissolves barriers where logic cannot. Love heals bodies where medicine fails. Love restores relationships where reason had given up. To fill the heart with love is to align with the highest law of attraction, for love and abundance walk hand in hand. Many people attempt to manifest with the mind while their hearts are full of fear, envy, or anger. This is why their affirmations fall flat and their prayers seem unanswered. The heart contradicts the words, and the heart is stronger than the lips. Words may declare prosperity, but if the heart secretly holds on to envy, prosperity is blocked. Words may declare peace, but if the heart clings to anger, peace cannot flow. The heart must be brought into agreement with the word, for when the heart and the word unite, creation is inevitable. You may begin to cleanse the heart daily by sitting quietly and asking yourself, "Whom do I need to forgive today? What bitterness am I still holding?" As each face arises in the mind, release them into the light. Say silently, "I forgive you and I set you free. I release you and I am released. I bless you and I go free." With every release, the heart grows lighter and the magnet grows stronger. The weight of years of resentment, can be lifted in a moment of true forgiveness. And the blessing that was held back for so long comes rushing like a river breaking through a dam. Another practice is to fill the heart with beauty, for beauty restores harmony. When you listen to music that uplifts, when you behold nature with wonder, when you create with your hands, you are feeding the heart with beauty, and beauty strengthens attraction. The heart delights in beauty, and what the heart delights in, it draws. This is why when you beautify your surroundings, you lift your vibration. When you fill your home with light, with order, with music, with flowers, your heart responds, and your heart's magnet attracts more beauty into your life. Jealousy is a poison of the heart, and it must be rooted out. To envy another's good is to declare silently, "There is not enough for me." But the law of life is infinite supply. To bless another's good is to magnetize your own. When you see someone prosper, say within your heart, "That good is evidence of what is possible for me. I rejoice with them, and my own good is on the way." In this way, the heart expands instead of contracts, and expansion draws more. Jealousy contracts and blocks, but rejoicing enlarges and attracts. The heart must also be kept from fear, for fear weakens the magnetic field. A fearful heart is like a broken magnet, it cannot hold its attraction. Fear whispers that lack is possible, that failure is near, that harm is inevitable. But these whispers are lies, and the heart must answer with truth. Whenever fear tries to enter, place your hand upon your heart and declare, "I am safe. I am guided. I am supplied. I am loved." The more you affirm love and safety, the more your heart beats in rhythm with the truth of life, and the magnet grows strong again. The heart is also a compass. When you quiet the mind and listen to the heart, it guides you toward your good. The heart knows when something aligns with your path, and when something does not. You may ignore it, but the magnet does not lie. If the heart feels heavy, forced, or contracted, it is often a sign to wait or turn away. If the heart feels light, open, and expanded, it is often a sign to proceed. Trusting the heart's compass is learning to trust the magnet that already knows what belongs to you. Your heart is not separate from the great heart of the universe. The heartbeat within you is the echo of the infinite life beating through all creation. When your heart is filled with love, gratitude, forgiveness, beauty, and faith, it resonates with the great universal rhythm, and the entire cosmos rushes to cooperate with you. When your heart is heavy with resentment, jealousy, or fear, it falls out of rhythm, and life seems to resist. Yet the moment you realign the heart, everything around you realigns as well, for outer conditions are only mirrors of the inner vibration. To keep your heart pure is to keep your magnet strong. To keep your heart loving is to keep your magnet irresistible. To keep your heart grateful is to keep your magnet radiant. Your heart is your fortune, your compass, your magnet, your treasure chest. What you hold within it, you will surely hold in your hands. Hope is the bridge to faith, the golden thread that keeps the soul connected to the unseen good. Even when the outer world appears dark, hope is the quiet assurance that something greater is moving beneath the surface, something unseen is preparing to reveal itself. It is the whisper that says, "Hold on. The tide is turning," even when the eyes can see no evidence of change. Hope is the candle that never burns out, the flame that flickers but refuses to die, the light that pierces the deepest shadow. Without hope, the soul drifts into despair, but with hope, the soul endures, and endurance carries one into faith, and faith into manifestation. Hope is not weakness, it is strength. It is not idle wishing, it is the seed of knowing. It is not vague longing. It is the first stirring of conviction that the unseen good is more real than the seen trouble. Hope is often tested in the darkest hour, the hour when circumstances seem most unyielding. It is in that hour that hope whispers, "This is not the end." Hope does not deny the storm. It simply declares that the storm will pass. Hope is the voice of the spirit reminding the mind that conditions are temporary, that life is ever changing, and that the eternal good cannot be withheld. Hope does not require proof. It simply holds to the promise that something better is already moving toward you. When the outer world presents closed doors, hope sees doors invisible to the eyes. When the outer world speaks of lack, hope holds fast to the idea of supply. When the outer world speaks of sickness, Hope clings to the possibility of health. Hope is the inner vision that sees beyond appearances. And it is this vision that sustains the soul until faith takes full possession. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, but without hope there can be no faith. Hope lays the foundation. It builds the bridge across the chasm of despair. It keeps the spirit from sinking when circumstances appear heavy. Hope is the tender root that grows into the strong tree of faith. Just as the seed must first sprout before it becomes a harvest, so hope must first awaken before faith can bear fruit. Many give up too soon because they lose hope, and in losing hope, they block the growth of faith. Yet even the smallest glimmer of hope is enough to keep the door open for faith to enter. A tiny flame of hope can light an entire room of despair, and once that flame is protected and nurtured, it grows into a blazing fire of faith. Hope works in the unseen realms of the subconscious. When you allow yourself to hope, you give your subconscious a picture of good to move toward. The subconscious mind is always at work, attracting conditions that match your dominant inner state. If despair is dominant, it attracts circumstances of defeat. If hope is dominant, it attracts glimpses of possibility, chance encounters, opportunities, and signs that encourage you to keep going. Hope lifts the vibration of the soul, and the universe responds to vibration. A hopeful soul is magnetic, while a hopeless soul repels its own good. This is why even in the smallest things, it is important to choose hope, to keep declaring that something good is coming. Something good is near. Something good is yours by divine right. There are those who confuse hope with idle wishing. Wishing is passive, it waits without expectation. It looks outside itself for chance or luck. Hope is active, it is living, it breathes expectation, it stirs the heart with assurance. Hope prepares a place for good to arrive. Hope waters the soil of the subconscious so that seeds of truth may grow. Hope is not waiting for a miracle, it is knowing that a miracle is already on its way. Wishing is powerless because it doubts. Hope is powerful because it expects. When despair creeps in, it must be met with the words of hope. Speak aloud to yourself, "This too shall pass. My good is certain. A way is opening even now." The spoken word reinforces hope, and hope reinforced grows stronger until it turns into faith. The difference between one who succeeds and one who fails is often nothing more than this: one held hope long enough for faith to take root, while the other gave up just before the tide turned. Hope keeps you moving forward. Hope keeps you standing when everything in you wants to quit. Hope whispers, "One more step." And that one more step is often the step that opens the way. Hope also works as a shield. When negative words and fearful predictions surround you, hope guards the soul from absorbing them. Hope says, "That may be true for others, but my path is blessed." Hope says, "That may be the report, but my outcome is different." Hope shields you from the contagion of fear, and in shielding you, it preserves your energy and focus for the good that is to come. Without hope, fear finds a foothold. With hope, fear is driven out, for light and darkness cannot dwell in the same place. The cultivation of hope requires discipline, for the world is filled with voices of despair. The news may speak of crisis, people may speak of failure, your own mind may whisper of impossibility. But hope is the conscious decision to tune into another frequency. It is the discipline of feeding the soul with words, images, and thoughts of good. It is choosing to imagine possibilities instead of obstacles, choosing to meditate on solutions instead of problems. Hope is not blind, it sees the challenge, but it also sees beyond it. It holds both awareness of the present and expectation of the future. Gratitude strengthens hope. For when you give thanks for the good you already have, your heart becomes more confident that more good is on the way. Gratitude says, "If good has come before, it can come again. If blessings have flowed once, they will flow again." Gratitude and hope work together to lift the soul into the vibration of faith. Similarly, imagination strengthens hope, for when you imagine yourself living in the fulfillment of your desire, you stir the feeling of hope until it becomes alive. Imagination paints the picture, hope holds the picture, and faith brings the picture into reality. Hope is also contagious. When you hold fast to hope, others around you are uplifted. A hopeful soul shines like a lamp in a dark room, and others are drawn to its light. You may not even speak words of hope, but your presence radiates assurance. People feel calmer, stronger, more encouraged around you because your hope strengthens their own. In this way, hope not only transforms your life, but becomes a blessing to others. Your hope becomes their hope, your light becomes their light, and your endurance becomes their strength. To live without hope is to live cut off from possibility, but to live with hope is to live open to miracles. Every great accomplishment, every breakthrough, every answered prayer, every manifestation began with hope. Hope saw what others did not see, hoped when others gave up, held fast when others turned away. Hope is the bridge across the gap between what is and what shall be. It is the invisible link that carries the soul from desire to fulfillment, from longing to possession, from darkness to light. Hope is the proof of the soul's resilience, the mark of its divine connection, the quiet evidence that no matter how dark the night, the dawn is certain. Harmony is heaven, and discord is hell, for the outer world is nothing but the reflection of the inner vibration. When the mind is troubled, the body soon shows strain, relationships begin to falter, and circumstances mirror the unrest within. Yet when the mind is at peace, the body is restored, doors open easily, and life arranges itself with a quiet order that seems miraculous to those who do not understand the law. Harmony is not something that depends on outer conditions, for outer conditions are always shifting. Harmony is something chosen and established within, and once chosen, it radiates outward to shape conditions to match. Wherever there is discord, it is a sign that thought has strayed from the divine pattern. For the true nature of life is peace, balance, and order. When thought is corrected, harmony is restored, and when harmony is restored, heaven appears on earth. Every atmosphere can be commanded into harmony. The home, the workplace, the body, the mind, all respond to the law of vibration. Discord is only a temporary illusion created by wrong thinking, by fear, by anger, by unforgiveness, by resistance to truth. But just as a musician can tune an instrument to perfect pitch, so can the soul tune its atmosphere to harmony by aligning with the higher law. Harmony is the natural state, just as health is the natural state of the body. It is discord that is unnatural, and discord dissolves the moment the higher vibration is asserted. Speak into the atmosphere. Peace is here. Harmony is established. All is in divine order. These words spoken with conviction send out a frequency that cannot be resisted, and soon everything around begins to bend to that frequency. Harmony begins in the thought life. Every thought of criticism, judgment, resentment, or fear strikes a note of discord. Every thought of love, forgiveness, kindness, and faith strikes a note of harmony. The mind is an orchestra, and each thought is a musician playing its note. When the thoughts are discordant, the music is harsh. When the thoughts are harmonious, the music is beautiful. And this inner music projects itself into the outer world, attracting conditions that match its tune. If you desire harmony in your surroundings, you must first cultivate harmony in your own thoughts. Refuse to dwell on arguments, on fears, on mistakes. Instead, dwell on truth, on love, on possibility, on beauty. The outer world is a mirror that faithfully reflects whatever is played within. Harmony is also maintained through speech, for the spoken word carries vibration even more powerfully than thought. Words of complaint, gossip, or anger spread discord like fire through dry grass. Words of blessing, encouragement, and truth spread harmony like fragrance in the air. One who speaks words of harmony becomes a peacemaker, and peace follows them wherever they go. If you desire harmony in your relationships, refuse to speak words of strife. Bless others in thought and word, and you will find them responding to you in kind. The harsh word may seem justified in the moment, but it always produces disharmony. The kind word, spoken even when undeserved, produces harmony that heals and restores. The body itself responds to harmony. When the mind is in conflict, the body is restless, uneasy, and vulnerable to disease. But when the mind is at peace, the body relaxes, and its natural healing forces are free to operate. Harmony in thought produces harmony in the cells, harmony in the nerves, harmony in the blood. Every organ begins to function in alignment when the soul is at peace. To affirm health is to affirm harmony. For health is nothing more than the body vibrating in its natural rhythm. Discord in the body is corrected by restoring harmony to the thought life, for thought precedes manifestation, A calm mind, a forgiving heart, a peaceful outlook. These bring harmony to the body and restore it to its perfect design. Harmony in relationships is created when the soul refuses to fight outward battles and instead corrects inward discord. You do not win harmony by forcing others to change. You win harmony by changing your vibration until others cannot help but respond differently. When you send out irritation, you receive irritation in return. When you send out peace, peace comes back multiplied. Even the most difficult person can soften when met with unwavering harmony, for discord cannot fight against peace forever. Peace wears away anger like water wears away stone, and harmony has the power to transform situations that seemed impossible. Refuse to enter into arguments, refuse to take offense, refuse to repay strife with strife. Instead, hold to harmony as your inner law, and watch how every relationship begins to shift. Harmony can be commanded even in the atmosphere of the world around you. When you enter a room filled with tension, you can bring peace by silently affirming, "This place is filled with harmony. All is calm. All is well." Your vibration influences the space, for energy is contagious. Just as one person's anger can spread through a group, one person's harmony can calm a crowd. The peacemaker is always more powerful than the agitator, because harmony aligns with the higher law, and discord is only temporary illusion. Stand in harmony, and the environment will soon adjust to match your presence. It is important to remember that harmony does not mean passivity or weakness. It is not the absence of strength, but the presence of divine order. To choose harmony is not to allow wrongs to continue unchecked. It is to align with truth so strongly that wrongs dissolve of themselves. Harmony is a force, not a fragility. It is the steady current that wears away resistance. Discord shouts, but harmony endures, and endurance is power. Harmony does not compromise with falsehood. It outlasts it until truth stands revealed. The universe itself is a vast symphony of harmony. The planets move in rhythm, the tides rise and fall in balance, the seasons turn with precision. When human thought aligns with this universal harmony, life flows with ease. Struggle, resistance, and discord come only when thought separates itself from this rhythm. To return to harmony is to return to alignment with the universe. The moment you align, doors open. Paths clear, resources appear, and relationships smooth out. Life becomes cooperative rather than adversarial. Harmony places you in the current of divine flow, and in that flow, everything needed is provided without strain. Harmony is also the atmosphere of heaven. Heaven is not distant. It is here and now wherever harmony reigns. When the soul is at peace, it lives in heaven on earth. When the soul is in discord, it lives in self-made hell, no matter the outer riches. Heaven is not a place but a vibration, and the vibration of heaven is harmony. Every thought of love, every act of kindness, every word of peace brings you into heaven's atmosphere, and as you live in that atmosphere, you draw to yourself every form of abundance, health, and joy. The choice for harmony is made moment by moment. In every situation, you may choose to feed discord or to feed peace. You may react with anger, or you may respond with calm. You may spread gossip, or you may speak blessing. You may hold resentment, or you may forgive. Each choice adds to the vibration of harmony or discord. Over time, your consistent choices create your atmosphere, and your atmosphere becomes your life. The one who consistently chooses harmony lives in a world that reflects heaven itself, for the law cannot fail to reproduce the vibration it is given. Heaven is a state of mind, not a distant place, not a reward reserved for some future moment, but a consciousness that can be lived here and now. When the mind is lifted above fear, above lack, above resentment and struggle, it enters into heaven. For heaven is simply the vibration of divine order, made visible in the life of the one who aligns with it. To believe heaven is far away is to postpone the good that is already yours. To realize heaven is within is to open the door to abundance, peace, and fulfillment in this very moment. The kingdom is not a land beyond the clouds. It is the inner realm of thought and belief. And when that realm is rightly ordered, the outer life must reflect it. Heaven is not escape, it is alignment. When the mind is clouded with fear, it dwells in hell, even if surrounded by wealth and comfort. When the mind is filled with peace, it dwells in heaven, even in the midst of challenge. Heaven and hell are not conditions of place but conditions of consciousness. The one who understands this no longer looks outward for salvation, but inward for transformation. Change the inner state, and the outer must change to match. Enter heaven within, and heaven will surround you without. This is the law of mind, and it never fails. Heaven is consciousness of abundance. When the mind knows that supply is infinite, that every need is met, that provision is always at hand, it dwells in the atmosphere of heaven. Lack cannot enter such a mind. For lack is but an illusion created by fear. The soul that dwells in abundance consciousness does not panic at appearances, does not bow to recession, does not fear the future. It rests in the knowing that provision is eternal, that channels of supply are infinite, and that what belongs to it cannot be withheld. This rest is heaven. Heaven is also consciousness of love. When the heart beats with unconditional love, when it forgives without bitterness, when it releases resentment and embraces kindness, the soul is lifted into heaven. Hatred is the vibration of hell, unforgiveness the chain that binds the soul to suffering. But love dissolves every chain and frees the heart into joy. Love is heaven's language, heaven's song, heaven's power. To live in love is to live already in heaven. For nothing can disturb the soul that radiates love. Peace is another aspect of heaven. Peace is not found in the absence of challenges, but in the presence of inner alignment. The soul at peace does not fear outcomes, does not wrestle with uncertainty, does not cling to control. It rests in divine order, knowing that all unfolds perfectly, even when appearances suggest chaos. Peace is heaven's atmosphere, and the one who maintains peace walks in heaven wherever they go. Even the storms of life cannot shake them, for their foundation is within, and within it is unmovable. Joy is the music of heaven. To live in joy is to live above circumstances, to choose celebration over complaint, to find delight in the simplest moments. Joy is not dependent on possessions or praise. It is the natural expression of a soul aligned with truth. Joy lifts the vibration of the entire being, attracting experiences that match its song. Joy heals the body, strengthens the mind, and magnetizes abundance. Joy is a doorway into heaven, and the one who chooses joy daily finds themselves living in a world of delight, for joy multiplies itself wherever it is expressed. Heaven is also order, the divine arrangement of life. Where there is confusion, the mind is in discord. But where there is order, heaven is present. This does not mean rigid control but alignment with the rhythm of the universe. The stars move in order, the tides flow in order, the seasons turn in order. To bring life into order is to reflect heaven. Order in thought, order in emotion, order in action. These open the way for heaven to manifest. Chaos is only the reflection of a mind out of harmony, but order reveals heaven's presence in all things. The soul creates heaven or hell through its choices of thought. When one chooses fear, criticism, complaint, bitterness, and doubt, they build hell around themselves, even while searching outward for relief. When one chooses love, gratitude, faith, forgiveness, and peace, they build heaven around themselves, no matter what the outer conditions may appear to be. The power is always within, never without. The door to heaven opens inward, never outward, and once opened, it transforms the entire landscape of life. Heaven is not passive, it is active alignment. It requires watchfulness over thought, discipline over words, mastery over imagination. The mind left to wander drifts into fear and complaint. But the mind directed consciously can dwell continually in heaven. This is why affirmations, declarations, and meditation are so powerful. They redirect the current of thought toward truth and lift the vibration into harmony with heaven. To speak daily. Heaven is here. Heaven is within me. Heaven is my atmosphere. Is to remind the soul of its rightful place. Soon the subconscious accepts this as reality, and the outer world shifts accordingly. Relationships too reflect heaven or hell depending on consciousness. When the mind dwells in suspicion, jealousy, or anger, relationships become entangled in strife. But when the mind dwells in trust, forgiveness, and unconditional love, relationships reflect harmony. The one who carries heaven within them brings heaven into every interaction. They speak peace instead of judgment. They give kindness instead of criticism. They forgive instead of condemning. Their very presence becomes a sanctuary for others, for heaven radiates from them without effort. Heaven is freedom. To live bound by fear of the future, bound by the past, bound by resentment or guilt, is to live in hell. But to live free from fear, free from guilt, free from chains of memory, is to live in heaven. Freedom is not escape from responsibility, it is release from bondage of thought. It is the knowing that nothing outside has power over the inner life. This freedom is heaven's gift, and when embraced, it transforms every outer condition into an expression of liberty. The imagination is the doorway through which heaven is built. When you imagine yourself living in peace, in abundance, in joy, you are building heaven in thought, and thought must eventually express itself in form. Imagination is not fantasy, it is creation. Whatever the soul consistently imagines, it magnetizes into existence. To dwell upon pictures of heaven is to prepare for heaven's manifestation. To dwell upon pictures of hell is to call forth its shadow. Guard the imagination, for it is the architect of your inner heaven. Heaven is also trust. Trust that life is good. Trust that every need is supplied. Trust that divine order is always unfolding. Trust silences worry, and silence is heaven's stillness. Trust removes doubt, and removal of doubt is heaven's clarity. Trust lifts the mind into rest, and rest is heaven's foundation. Without trust, the mind is restless, always striving, always anxious, always unsettled. With trust, the mind is calm, receptive, open, and serene. This calmness allows good to flow easily, for resistance is gone. Trust is the gatekeeper of heaven's flow. Heaven is not far, not unreachable, not reserved for the afterlife. It is here now, available in every breath, in every thought, in every choice. To live in heaven is to live consciously, to choose peace over conflict, gratitude over complaint, faith over fear, forgiveness over resentment, joy over despair, love over hatred. Each choice lifts the soul higher, each choice creates the atmosphere, each choice builds the world around you. Heaven is not waiting. Heaven is always present, waiting only for you to enter its vibration, through the alignment of your mind and heart.